In the mystical land of Eldoria, where towering mountains kissed the sky and lush forests whispered ancient secrets, the villagers of Greystone lived in harmony with nature. Among them was a young girl named Lyra, known for her fierce spirit and insatiable curiosity. With her fiery red hair and emerald green eyes, she often found herself daydreaming of adventures beyond the village. One day, while exploring the edge of the Whispering Woods, she stumbled upon an ancient stone tablet covered in intricate carvings. As she brushed away the moss, she could make out a passage. "When the heart of the dragon beats anew, the fate of the realm shall rest with you." Lyra's heart raced. Dragons were mythical creatures, thought to be extinct. Legends spoke of their power and wisdom, and the notion that their hearts could still beat sent shivers down her spine. What did it mean? Determined to uncover the truth, she rushed back to the village. The village was bustling with activity as Lyra shared her discovery with her friends: Finn, a clever boy with a knack for invention, and Eleonora, a gentle girl who could speak to animals. They gathered at the village square under the towering oak tree. "Dragons? Do you really think they still exist?" Finn asked, skepticism etched on his face. "Why would the tablet mention it if they were gone?" Lyra countered, her eyes shining with excitement. "We have to find out." Eleonora, stroking her pet rabbit, added, "If there's a chance to help our village, we must investigate. The tablet speaks of a heart that beats anew. What if it could bring balance back to the land?" Cheerful, the trio decided to embark on a quest to discover the truth about the dragon's heart. As they gathered supplies, a sense of purpose washed over them. They would uncover the secrets hidden in the mountains and perhaps restore the magic that once flourished in Eldoria. With a map drawn from Lyra's memory of the tablet, the friends set off at dawn. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of pine and earth. As they ventured deeper into the Whispering Woods, the sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. After hours of walking, they reached the base of the Dragonspire Mountains, where jagged peaks loomed overhead. The legend spoke of the dragon's lair hidden within the mountains, protected by powerful magic. "We need to find the entrance," Lyra said, scanning the rocky terrain. "It has to be here somewhere." As they explored, they stumbled upon a cave entrance partially obscured by vines. A feeling of unease washed over them, but the thrill of adventure propelled them forward. They lit torches and stepped inside, the darkness swallowing them. The cave was vast, adorned with shimmering crystals that reflected their torchlight. The air was cool and damp, filled with the sound of dripping water. As they ventured deeper, they discovered walls etched with images of dragons soaring through the skies. "Look at these carvings!" Finn exclaimed, pointing to a scene depicting a majestic dragon with shimmering scales and a heart radiating light. This must be the dragon of legend. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath their feet. A low growl reverberated through the cave, causing the friends to freeze in place. From the shadows emerged a massive figure, a dragon, its scales glistening like polished emeralds. The dragon towered over them, its eyes bright and piercing. "Who dares to enter my domain?" it boomed, its voice echoing off the walls. Lyra stepped forward, her heart racing. "We seek the truth about the dragon's heart. We want to restore balance to Eldoria." The dragon narrowed its eyes, studying them. "You are brave to seek knowledge, but do you understand the weight of such a quest?" Eleonora spoke up, her voice steady. "We believe the heart can help our village. The land is suffering, and we want to make things right." The dragon considered their words, then nodded slowly. "Very well. I am Zephyros, the last of the dragon guardians. The heart you seek is indeed powerful, but it lies hidden in the depths of this mountain. You must prove yourselves worthy to retrieve it." Zephyros explained that they would face 3 trials, each designed to test their courage, wisdom, and compassion. Only those who passed all 3 would be deemed worthy of the dragon's heart. "The first trial is one of courage," Zephyros declared. "Follow me." He led them deeper into the cave, where they encountered a vast chasm filled with swirling mist. "You must cross this chasm to prove your bravery. Trust in yourselves and each other." Lyra looked at her friends, determination shining in her eyes. "We can do this together." With Zephyros's guidance, they fashioned a bridge from fallen rocks and vines. as they crossed, the mist began to swirl violently, threatening to engulf them. But they held on to each other, their trust empowering them, and they made it across. Having passed the first trial, they arrived at a chamber filled with ancient books and scrolls. The second trial is one of wisdom, Zephyros explained. You must solve the riddle of the ancients to proceed. A massive stone tablet stood at the center of the chamber, inscribed with a riddle. I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. What am I? The friends pondered, exchanging ideas. Eleonora furrowed her brow deep in thought. It must be an echo. It can carry sound without a physical form. An echo it is, Zephyros declared. The tablet glowed, and a hidden door opened, revealing the next passage. The final trial awaited them, a serene glade within the mountain, filled with flowers and gentle streams. In the center stood a pedestal with a radiant crystal heart pulsating softly. You must show compassion to the creatures of this realm, Zephyros instructed. Only then will the heart reveal its true power. As they approached, they noticed injured animals scattered throughout the glade. Without hesitation, Eleonora knelt beside a wounded fox, gently tending to its wounds. Lyra and Finn helped other creatures, their hearts swelling with empathy. As they cared for the animals, the crystal heart began to glow brighter, illuminating the entire glade. Zephyros observed with approval. You have proven your worth. With their trials complete, Zephyros approached the pedestal. The heart you seek is not just a symbol of power, but a source of life. It connects all living things in Eldoria. He lifted the crystal heart, and the air shimmered with magic. This heart can heal your land, but it requires a sacrifice. One must be willing to give their own heart for the sake of the realm. Lyra's heart raced. What do you mean? To restore balance, one of you must merge your essence with the heart, Zephyros explained. Only then will its power be unleashed. The weight of the decision hung heavy in the air. Lyra, Finn, and Eleonora exchanged glances, each contemplating the sacrifice. I can't let any of you do this alone, Finn said, his voice steady. We're in this together. We'll find another way, Eleonora added, her determination unwavering. We can't let the heart's power go to waste. Lyra took a deep breath, feeling the pull of the heart. If it's to save our home, I will do it. I've always dreamed of adventure and making a difference. This is my chance. Zephyros nodded solemnly. Very well, brave one. Step forward. Lyra approached the pedestal, feeling the warmth of the heart radiating toward her. As she placed her hands on it, she felt a surge of energy coursing through her. The heart pulsed in response, and she closed her eyes, surrendering to the magic. Light enveloped her, and she felt her essence merging with the heart. Memories of her life flashed before her. Her home, her friends, her dreams. As the connection deepened, she felt the pain of the land's suffering and the joy of its beauty. When the light faded, Lyra stood transformed, a shimmering aura surrounding her. Zephyros looked at her with awe. You are now the Heartkeeper, protector of Eldoria. The heart glowed with newfound brilliance, and the very air around them shimmered. The cave trembled, and the walls began to pulse with energy. The balance has shifted, Zephyros declared. Eldoria will heal. As they emerged from the cave, they witnessed a breathtaking transformation. The once dying forests were now vibrant and alive, flowers blooming in a riot of colors. Rivers flowed with crystal-clear water, and the skies cleared, revealing brilliant blue. The villagers of Greystone gathered in awe, witnessing the miraculous change. They embraced Lyra and her friends, grateful for their bravery and sacrifice. You have restored our land, an elder exclaimed, tears of joy in her eyes. Your courage will be remembered for generations. Lyra smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. She had discovered her purpose and brought hope to her village. As time passed, Lyra embraced her role as the Heartkeeper. She worked alongside Zephyros, learning the ways of magic and the importance of balance. Together, they ensured that the heart's power was used wisely, protecting the realm from darkness. Finn and Eleonora joined her on countless adventures, exploring new lands and forging alliances with magical creatures. Their bond grew stronger, and they became legends in their own right. Years later, as Lyra stood atop the Dragonspire Mountains, she gazed out at the thriving land below. She felt the heartbeat of Eldoria resonating within her, a constant reminder of the sacrifices made and the love shared. With Zephyros by her side, she knew that the legacy of the dragon's heart would continue to inspire future generations. The stories of courage, compassion, and friendship would echo through time, reminding all who heard them of the power that lay within. One fateful day, a new adventure awaited. A distant kingdom had reached out for help, facing a darkness that threatened to consume it. Lyra gathered her friends, excitement bubbling within her. "We must answer their call," she declared, determination shining in her eyes. "Together, we can bring hope to those in need." As they set off on their journey, the sun set behind the mountains, casting a golden hue across the sky. With the heart of the dragon beating in their chests, they ventured into the unknown, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. Their travels took them across vast landscapes, through enchanted forests, over treacherous mountains, and across shimmering seas. Each destination brought new challenges, but they faced them with resilience and courage. In the enchanted forest of Eldergrove, they encountered mischievous fairies who tested their wit. In the Frostfire Mountains, they faced fierce ice dragons guarding ancient treasures. Through it all, their friendship deepened, and they learned to trust each other completely. As they approached the kingdom of Eldoria, a sense of foreboding washed over them. The once vibrant land now lay shrouded in darkness, its inhabitants gripped by fear. Lyra felt the heart within her pulse more rapidly, sensing the pain of the land. "We must find the source of this darkness," she said, her voice steady. "Together we can bring light back to this kingdom." They soon discovered that a malevolent sorcerer had arisen, seeking to harness the power of the dragon's heart for his own twisted purposes. He had captured the spirits of the land, draining their magic to fuel his dark ambitions. Determined to confront the sorcerer, Lyra and her friends infiltrated his fortress, a twisted labyrinth filled with traps and illusions. They relied on their wits and courage, overcoming each obstacle that stood in their way. At the heart of the fortress, they faced the sorcerer, an imposing figure cloaked in shadows, his eyes glowing with malice. "You think you can stop me?" he sneered, his voice echoing ominously. "The heart of the dragon will be mine." Lyra stepped forward, the power of the heart resonating within her. "We won't let you destroy what is meant to be protected." A fierce battle ensued, magic clashing in a brilliant display of light and darkness. Lyra drew upon the strength of the heart, channeling its energy into a brilliant beam of light that pierced the shadows. With a final surge of power, Lyra unleashed the heart's magic, enveloping the sorcerer in a radiant glow. The darkness shattered, and the spirits of the land were freed from his grip. The fortress crumbled, and light flooded the kingdom once more. As the dust settled, the villagers emerged from hiding, their faces filled with hope and gratitude. Lyra and her friends stood victorious, having restored balance to the realm once again. In the days that followed, the kingdom flourished. The villagers celebrated their heroes, grateful for the bravery and sacrifice that had saved them. Lyra felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that their efforts had made a difference. With Zephyros by her side, she continued her role as the Heart Keeper, guiding others to embrace the magic within themselves. Together, they forged a new legacy, one of courage, compassion, and unity. As the sun set over Eldoria, casting a warm golden light across the land, Lyra gazed at the horizon, her heart filled with hope. She knew that new adventures awaited, and with her friends by her side, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. The dragon's heart would continue to beat, echoing through time, reminding all who heard its tale that love, courage, and friendship could conquer even the darkest of shadows. And so, the journey continued, a new chapter waiting to be written in the ever-unfolding story of Eldoria.
In the quiet town of Maplewood, nestled between rolling hills and lush forests, life moved at a leisurely pace. The residents knew each other by name, and the local library was a cherished community hub. Among its many visitors was a young woman named Eliza Grant, an aspiring journalist with an insatiable curiosity for the past. One crisp autumn afternoon, as leaves danced in a kaleidoscope of colors, Eliza decided to visit the library. The scent of old books filled the air as she stepped inside, her heart racing with anticipation. She loved the thrill of uncovering stories hidden within the pages of dusty volumes. As she wandered through the aisles, Her fingers traced the spines of books until one particular volume caught her eye. It was a weathered, leather-bound journal, its cover embossed with intricate designs. Eliza pulled it from the shelf, intrigued. Curiosity piqued. Eliza settled into a cozy corner of the library and opened the journal. The pages were filled with elegant handwriting, and as she began to read, she realized it belonged to a woman named Margaret Hawthorne, who had lived in Maplewood over a century ago. Margaret's entries chronicled her daily life, her dreams, and her struggles. Eliza became engrossed in the story of a young woman longing for adventure beyond the confines of her small town. But what truly captivated Eliza was the final entry, dated August 15, 1912. "My dearest friend," it began, "this may be my last letter to you. There are secrets in our family that I fear may never be uncovered. If you find this, know that I loved with all my heart and wished for a life beyond these walls." Eliza's heart raced. What secrets had Margaret held? What had happened to her? Determined to uncover the truth, Eliza resolved to dig deeper into Margaret's life. Eliza spent the following days researching the Hawthorne family. She discovered that Margaret had come from a prominent family in Maplewood, known for their vast estate and influence in the community. Her parents had high expectations for her, pushing her toward a conventional life. As Eliza delved into old newspapers, she found articles about the Hawthorne estate, a grand mansion where lavish parties were held and influential figures gathered. But the articles also hinted at a tragic incident that had occurred years ago, shrouded in mystery. Margaret's elder brother Thomas had vanished without a trace. The more Eliza learned, the more questions she had. What had happened to Thomas? How had it affected Margaret? And what secrets lay hidden in the Hawthorne estate? Driven by her curiosity, Eliza decided to visit the Hawthorne estate. The mansion still stood, albeit in a state of disrepair, with vines creeping up its walls and windows boarded up. It loomed over the landscape like a ghost of its former self. Eliza approached the entrance, her heart pounding with excitement. She pushed open the creaky door, and the scent of dust and decay enveloped her. Inside, the grand foyer was filled with remnants of the past, faded portraits, ornate furnishings, and a grand staircase that spiraled into darkness. As she explored the mansion, Eliza felt a strange energy in the air, as if the walls themselves held the echoes of long-forgotten conversations. In the library, she discovered more of Margaret's belongings, books, letters, and an old trunk that seemed to hold untold stories. With trembling hands, Eliza opened the trunk. Inside, she found a collection of letters tied with a faded ribbon. They were addressed to Margaret, each one filled with heartfelt words and intimate confessions. The letters were from a man named James, who had been Margaret's secret love. As Eliza read through the letters, she felt the intensity of their romance, a love that blossomed in secrecy, away from the prying eyes of society. James wrote of dreams of escaping together, of adventures in distant lands, and of a life filled with passion and purpose. But the letters took a darker turn. The final letter, dated just days before Margaret's last journal entry, hinted at trouble. "I fear for you, my love," James wrote. "There are forces at play that seek to keep us apart. If I cannot reach you, know that I will always cherish our time together." Eliza's heart raced. What had happened to James? And how had Margaret's life unfolded after their correspondence? Determined to uncover the truth, Eliza returned to the library to continue her research. She began piecing together Margaret's story, visiting local archives and speaking to elderly residents who might remember the Hawthornes. One afternoon, she met an elderly woman named Mrs. Jenkins, who had grown up in Maplewood. With a twinkle in her eye, Mrs. Jenkins recounted stories of the Hawthorne estate and the mysterious disappearance of Thomas. "Margaret was a bright light in our town," she said, her voice filled with nostalgia. "But after Thomas vanished, she changed. The joy in her eyes faded, and she became a shadow of her former self." Eliza listened intently. "What do you remember about Thomas? Do you think his disappearance was connected to Margaret?" Mrs. Jenkins nodded thoughtfully. "There were whispers of a forbidden love. Some said he was involved with someone he shouldn't have been. Others believed he was trying to escape the family's expectations." The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place. Eliza felt a surge of determination. She needed to find out what truly happened to Thomas and how it had impacted Margaret's life. With newfound resolve, Eliza decided to search for any records related to Thomas Hawthorne. She scoured newspaper archives and public records, hoping to find clues about his disappearance. After days of searching, she discovered a police report detailing Thomas's last known whereabouts. He had been seen near the riverbank, where he often went to think. The report mentioned an argument he had with a mysterious figure shortly before he vanished. Eliza's heart raced as she realized that she needed to visit the riverbank. Perhaps it held the key to understanding what happened to Thomas, and in turn, what had happened to Margaret. On a chilly afternoon, Eliza made her way to the riverbank. The sound of water flowing over rocks filled the air, and the sunlight danced on the surface. As she walked along the shore, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being drawn to something significant. Eliza paused to take in the surroundings, searching for anything that might offer a clue. As she scanned the area, her gaze fell upon a small, weathered stone partially hidden in the grass. Curiosity piqued, she knelt down and brushed away the dirt, revealing an inscription. In memory of Thomas Hawthorne. Her breath caught in her throat. This was a memorial for Thomas. Eliza felt a rush of emotions, sadness, anger, and a burning desire to learn more. Why had Thomas been memorialized here? What had happened on that fateful day? Determined to uncover the truth, Eliza began to dig deeper into the riverbank's history. She spoke to local historians and searched for any accounts of the events surrounding Thomas's disappearance. Each conversation revealed more about the tensions that had existed in the Hawthorne family. One evening, Eliza met with a historian named Mr. Thompson, who had dedicated years to studying Maplewood's history. The Hawthorne family had a reputation for being strict and controlling, he explained. Thomas was known for his rebellious spirit. He wanted to forge his own path, but his family had other plans. What kind of plans? Eliza asked, intrigued. His parents had arranged a marriage for him, Mr. Thompson replied. It was a union meant to strengthen their family's influence in the community. Thomas was furious. He wanted to be with someone else, a girl from a less affluent family. Eliza's heart sank. Was this the reason for the argument mentioned in the police report? Had Thomas been fighting for his freedom, only to pay the ultimate price? As Eliza continued her investigation, she discovered that the girl Thomas had loved was none other than Margaret's closest friend, Clara. The revelation sent shockwaves through Eliza. Had Margaret known about their love? Had it torn her apart? Eliza felt a deep sense of connection to the past, as if she were living in the shadow of Margaret and Thomas. She needed to know more about their relationship, so she turned to Clara's descendants for answers. After a series of calls, Eliza found Clara's granddaughter, a kind woman named Ruth, who was eager to share her family's history. When Eliza arrived at Ruth's home, she was greeted with warmth and hospitality. Over tea, Ruth shared stories of her grandmother Clara, their adventures, dreams, and the heartbreak that had followed Thomas's disappearance. Clara was devastated when Thomas vanished, Ruth said, her voice tinged with sadness. She never believed he would leave without a word. She thought he was taken against his will. Did she ever speak of Margaret? Eliza asked, sensing a deeper connection. Ruth nodded. They were inseparable. When Thomas disappeared, Margaret was heartbroken too. She felt guilty for not knowing about their love. It tore the friendship apart. Eliza's mind raced. What had happened to Margaret after the loss of her brother and the fallout with Clara? She needed to dig deeper into their story. As Eliza pieced together the narratives, she felt a strange sense of urgency. She returned to the Hawthorne estate, determined to find more clues. In the attic, filled with dusty boxes, she discovered a hidden compartment in the floor. Inside, she found a collection of letters between Margaret and Clara, revealing their once strong friendship. The letters spoke of dreams, laughter, and the heartache they faced after Thomas's disappearance. But one letter stood out. Margaret had written about her longing for freedom, a desire to escape the confines of her family's expectations. Dearest Clara, it read, I wish to be more than just a Hawthorne. I want to live, to love, to be free. If only the world could see beyond our names. Eliza's heart ached for Margaret. She had been trapped in a world that stifled her spirit. But what had ultimately happened to her? Determined to find answers, Eliza continued her investigation. She sought out old photographs and documents, hoping to find anything that could shed light on Margaret's fate. One afternoon, while sifting through a box of family heirlooms, she stumbled upon a faded photograph of Margaret standing by the riverbank, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. On the back of the photograph was a handwritten note. Meet me where the river flows, and we'll find our way to freedom. Eliza's heart raced. Was this a message meant for James? Did Margaret plan to run away? She needed to return to the riverbank and uncover the truth. Eliza arrived at the riverbank, her heart pounding with anticipation. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the water. As she stood there, she felt a palpable sense of history surrounding her. She closed her eyes and imagined Margaret standing beside her, filled with hope and longing. What had happened in that moment of decision? Had she truly sought freedom, or had she been swept away by the currents of fate? Suddenly, Eliza heard footsteps behind her. She turned to see a figure approaching, a young man with a familiar face. It was James, or rather his great-grandson Mark, who had heard of her investigation and wanted to learn more about his ancestor. "Are you Eliza Grant?" he asked, his voice steady. "Yes," she replied, surprised but intrigued. "I've been researching your great-grandfather, James." Mark nodded, his expression serious. "I've heard the stories. My family has carried the weight of their past for generations. I want to know what happened to James and Margaret." Eliza felt a connection to him, a shared desire to uncover the truth. Together, they stood at the riverbank, ready to confront the mysteries of the past. As Eliza and Mark exchanged stories, they realized they were both seeking the same answers. They decided to work together to uncover the truth about Margaret and Thomas. With each passing day, they delved deeper into the Hawthorne family history, seeking out archives, interviewing locals, and piecing together the narrative of their ancestors. They discovered that Thomas had been seen arguing with a man near the river just before he disappeared, a man who had been involved in a scandal that had rocked Maplewood. Eliza's heart raced as they unearthed evidence that connected Thomas's disappearance to a larger conspiracy. It was a plot to silence him, to protect the reputation of the Hawthorne family. As Eliza and Mark continued their investigation, they faced obstacles and resistance from those who wanted to keep the past buried. But with determination, they pressed on, fueled by their desire for truth. One stormy evening, they received an anonymous letter warning them to stop their investigation. "Leave the past alone," it read ominously, "or suffer the consequences." But Eliza and Mark were undeterred. They knew they had to confront the truth, no matter the cost. The day finally arrived when they would confront the last remaining members of the Hawthorne family, those who had lived in the shadow of the past. Eliza and Mark scheduled a meeting at the Hawthorne estate, hoping to shed light on the secrets that had haunted the family for generations. As they arrived, tension hung in the air. The current generation of Hawthornes was represented by a stern elderly woman named Eleanor, who had long been the keeper of the family's secrets. "What do you want?" Eleanor asked, her voice cold. "We're here to uncover the truth," Eliza replied, her heart pounding. "About Thomas and Margaret." Eleanor's expression hardened. "Some things are best left forgotten," she said. "But the truth will set you free," Mark added, stepping forward. "We need to understand what happened." Eleanor's facade began to crack as Eliza and Mark pressed her for answers. They revealed their findings, the letters, the photographs, and the connections to Thomas's disappearance. Slowly, the weight of the past pressed upon Eleanor, and she began to speak. "Thomas was defiant," she admitted, her voice trembling. "He wanted to be with Clara, and we couldn't allow that. We thought we could control the situation, but it spiraled out of control." Eliza listened, her heart racing. "What happened to him?" "He confronted the man who threatened our family's reputation," Eleanor confessed. "We never saw him again. We thought he had run away, but I fear the worst." Tears filled Eleanor's eyes as she faced the truth she had buried for so long. "I never meant for it to end like this. I wanted to protect our family, but I lost my brother in the process." In that moment of vulnerability, Eliza felt a deep sense of compassion for Eleanor. The weight of the past had taken its toll on her family, just as it had on Margaret and Clara. "We can't change the past," Eliza said gently, "but we can honor their memories and seek justice for them." With newfound resolve, Eliza and Mark vowed to continue their investigation. They would seek to bring the truth to light, not just for their ancestors, but for the healing of the community. As Eliza and Mark worked together to publish their findings, the story of Thomas and Margaret began to resonate within the community. The truth brought closure to the Hawthorne family and opened a dialogue about the importance of honesty and understanding. In the following months, Maplewood began to heal. The residents came together to honor the memory of Thomas and Margaret, celebrating their lives and the love they had for one another. Eliza's article, "The Last Letter from the Past," became a sensation, igniting discussions about the importance of preserving history and confronting the truth, no matter how painful it may be. As the seasons changed, Eliza reflected on her journey. The investigation had not only uncovered the truth about the Hawthorne family, but had also deepened her understanding of love, sacrifice, and the power of connection. With Mark by her side, Eliza continued her work as a journalist, determined to tell stories that mattered. Together, they explored the untold histories of Maplewood, reminding the community of the importance of their past. In the quiet moments, Eliza often thought of Margaret and Thomas. Their love story had transcended time, reminding her that the bonds of the heart could never be broken. Years later, as Eliza sat in her cozy home, she found herself reflecting on the last letter that had started it all. She opened the journal once more, tracing her fingers over Margaret's handwriting. "Dearest friend," it began, "this may be my last letter to you, but I hope that my story will not be forgotten." With a smile, Eliza picked up her pen and began to write. She would ensure that the legacy of Margaret and Thomas lived on, through stories, through memories, and through the love that connected them all.